The best way to get over the pain of the past is to create a future that looks like payback for the past. You see, pain in the past is what we call an injustice. Have you ever seen outside of a courtroom the statue of Lady Justice? What is she holding in her hands? She's holding an ancient pair of scales. And if the scales are equal, there is justice. If the scales are unequal, there is injustice. So in case you're wondering why the pain of the past remains, it's because those scales in your life are out of balance. There was pain caused, which threw weight on one side of the scale, but nothing was ever restituted. Nobody apologized. Nobody made it up to you. So there was no weight thrown on the other side of the scale. So your scales are unequal, which means the injustice remains, which means the pain of the past remains. That's why you're still hurting, because nobody made it up to you. But then you also reason to yourself, well, I always tried to be a good person. I felt like I was a good person when I was young. Why would people cause me pain unintentionally? So you reason, well, it must have been my fault. There must be something bad about me for people to mistreat me as they have all of my life. No, people mistreat because that's what people do, right? Not everybody, but there are people who are just naturally narcissistic, sociopathic, psychopathic, abusers. They have their own interest to gain. But here's the thing. Not only did these people rob you of a portion of your past, technically, they've also robbed you of your future, because you're still living with the pain of the past. You still have that limp. Your scales are unequal. No weight has been thrown on the other side of the scale because no one has apologized. No one has made it up to you. Now, those people who cause you pain may not be around anymore. They might be dead and in the grave, or they might refuse to ever apologize or admit to what they do. Therefore, how do you get those scales in balance again? How do you throw weight on the other side of the scale? How does anything get made up to you when pain was caused to you and it wasn't your own fault? The only way to do that is to create a future that looks like payback for the past. That means you have to throw weight on the other side of the scale. You have to make it up to yourself. Well, how in the hell would you do that? The way that you throw weight on the other side of the scale, the way that you make it up to yourself for the pain caused you in the past, is to create a future that looks like payback for the past. In other words, if they took some of your past, don't give them your future. You do that by, again, creating a better future for yourself. Look at it this way, and I'm going to ask you a simple question. What would you do with your life at this point had nothing bad ever happened to you in the past? I'm going to ask that again. What would you do with your life at this point had nothing bad ever happened to you in the past? And you might say, well, I would do this and I would do the things I always wanted to do. Well, get started. Well, but I can't. Oh, yes, you can. You are able to do this. What you need is for this to be resolved in your mind. What you're contending with ultimately is a mental and emotional block. You have reasoned it out in your head that you deserve what happened to you, or that you can't get over what happened to you. We're not asking for you to get over something. We're asking you to create the future you have the potential and power and ability to create despite what happened to you in the past. And by doing so, you're creating a future that looks like payback for the past. You are not going to reward those who caused you pain by donating to them another moment of your future. Because think about this, if there is any one of us who has the most reason to create a better future for themselves, isn't it those who've been abused the most? If you want to talk about deserving something, isn't it the fact that those who have received the most pain, the most hurt, don't they have the most reason to create a better future for themselves? Of course they do. You have all the reason in the world to throw weight on the other side of the scale of your life. And you do that by getting busy creating that future that looks like a payback for the past. You do that by creating the life you could have always created had nothing bad ever happen to you. All you need is like what's happening right now with this video is a reorientation of your thinking. As you listen to my voice right now, the gears are already turning, aren't they? You're seeing a little bit of light, aren't you? You're feeling a little bit of hope, a little bit of enthusiasm, a little bit of motivation, aren't you? Simply because we're changing the way you view yourself, other people, and what happened to you. There are more than enough resources in this world to help you achieve anything you want in life. Sure, a lot of time has gone by. Maybe you can't do and fulfill the vision exactly as you had it when you were 20 years old. Maybe you're 40, 45, 56 now. Well, it doesn't matter. You can live some semblance of the life that you've always wanted simply because you want to. So I want to encourage you in that today, man. You are a warrior. You are still a champion. You are still well able to go after anything you want to go after. And that's what I encourage you to do today. So create a future that looks like payback for the past. You'll be glad you did. This is CJ, the Metal Motivator. And remember, in whatever you do, don't suck metal up.